What does this, and this have in common with our first show? Well, we've got Eddie Roberts from the new Mastersounds. He's coming up next on RPM. Eddie, how are you, buddy?
Wonderful.
Good.
Yeah.
Hey,
a beautiful summer day in Denver.
Okay, yeah. When we're recording this, it's actually going to be 30 overnight here in Florida, so might be warmer there than here.
Yeah, I know, it's been crazy. We had one little bit of snow this weekend, and now it's back to like 75.
Oh, jeez. That's quite crazy. We're actually coming up to Denver for a Red Rock show over Memorial Day weekend, and I haven't seen you guys listed as the new Mastersounds or the new band, The Breaks, performing that weekend. You can make that happen?
I'll try, actually. I did put it to the Breaks booking agent that I was looking for something that weekend.
Okay.
I think Stanton has some shows with Galactic, so I think that's why we couldn't do it. But I'll be around, so I'll probably be hanging out.
All right, cool. I'll just text you and we'll figure out where I'm going to hang out that weekend. But hey, guys, I like to kind of bring bands in that I've been listening to for a long time. RPM is really just about records, people, and music in general. And I've been listening to the new Mastersounds for about 20 years. They have been on a run of flaming shows and just amazing guitars. And the guys are all exhaling a little bit, it sounds like. And after 26 years, the new Mastersounds have slowed down. Is that correct? Or are you done?
So, yeah, it's been hard to explain it. We're done with touring, but we're not done as a band. So we didn't break up. We just decided that we no longer wanted to spend 5 or 6 hours a day in a minivan. Hence no touring. But yeah, we've hit the road for, we've done 20 years in the US, 26 years in total. We're all going into the autumn of our lives, and it just felt like it was the right time to draw a line underneath it and just, not do the whole touring slog. The other three guys live in Europe, and they have done the entire time. I'm the only one who moved out to the US. So, it's always been difficult for them. They can't just come and play a Friday show or a Saturday show. They have to commit to 3 to 5 weeks of touring to make it viable. So, it's hard. A lot of the bands of our age group are slowing down, and kind of we call it weekend warrior, right? You fly out and do Friday, Saturday, and you go home and you're back in your bed by Sunday. So that's something that the guys have never been able to do. But saying that, we haven't broken up. We're going to do some shows in Spain where the bass player Pete lives.
That's awesome. And you can always probably catch new Mastersounds in some format on Jazz Fest weekends down in New Orleans. You're not going to stop doing that.
Oh yeah, we won't be there.
You won't be there as the band, but yeah. there is a gig.
I'll be there.
Yeah, you'll be there. So that was my first time catching you at the Joy Theater, and I thought the time was wrong when I bought the tickets, but it was 2 a.m. was your start time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We used to do 2 till 5, 2 till 6. I think they got a little pissed with us doing till 6, and they started calling it. I think they started changing the clocks on us, actually.
Yeah, it was a great show. I have it on. I have a bootleg tape of it. You guys permit people to do that, and nice. You had some really cool guests come in there. I think Eric Krasno came in and played some songs, and it was actually the Alan Toussaint week. It was the year for Alan's.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think Ivan sang with us. Cyril Neville sang with us. Marc Broussard sang with us. I'm trying to remember. It was a while back now. Yeah, it was right after that he passed away.
That's right. Yeah, it was that weekend. Where did you get into this style of music? You're from Wales, correct? And you're from England. You spent time in Leeds as well. But where did you find bands like the Meters, and how did that come to fruition where maybe that's kind of the style of music you like playing?
Yeah. Well, the only way you heard music back in the day was at the radio or buying vinyl records. And my brother's 2 years older than me. He had a paper round and used to go to the record store, and we'd look through and, we'd recognize a name and grab it. And we kind of found out through people like Sabbath like you'd read the linear notes and they talk about jazz and blues, and we were like, what's this jazz they speak of?
Right.
So we would go to the record store and find the jazz section and just flick through it and go, Charlie Parker, I vaguely heard that name before. So we'd, buy that one and things like that. And so I really got into jazz. And then it was, I guess when I went to music school, there was some DJs running a club night, and they started making mixtapes for me. And it was, so it was kind of like they were DJing funk soul, things like that. So they kept saying, "Oh, you need to hear this. You need to hear Grant Green. You need to hear the Meters, things like that." And so they would make me mixtapes, and as soon as I heard that music, I was like, that's it. That's what I was looking for all this time.
Simple and eternally funky, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely.
It's absolutely that way. And watching your shows, we actually brought you to our hometown in the middle of nowhere between Destin and Pensacola. I don't know if you remember that, but we did book you at an outdoor venue. I got you a house, and I think you guys didn't even stay in it. I think you left, but it was in between Jazz Fest. Yeah.
What year was that? How long ago?
Oh, it was probably set in 2017, somewhere back in there.
Okay.
But the whole band came, and I have a photo with all of you in my hometown. It was a blur on your 26-year journey, right?
What's the town called?
It was a 30A, so it's right in between Destin and Panama City. It was a long time ago. But yeah, it was a place called The Hub, and we met you guys. You guys had your van out there, and yes, you were in a van, and you moved straight on. I think you might have been headed back towards New Orleans for the second weekend, maybe. So it was a while ago.
Sounds about right.
It was about right. So, the Meters have always been a big band for me. And, when I started listening to Mastersounds, I just kind of absorbed that. And it's like, it was right. I also did a chat GPT kind of like, if you like new Mastersounds and Meters, who else would you be listening to, or who else should I check out? It opens up a really music discovery thing for me. And, I ended up finding out, back behind me, the Delvin, Lamar, organ trio and people like that. Annie Ballas, I don't even know how I came up with that one, but they're awesome out of Brooklyn. And I really kind of gravitate towards the tunes that don't have a lot of lyrics, maybe because I can't remember the lyrics all the time, but a lot of,
so that's the thing. That's the thing. I was talking to my wife the other day. So when we were at school and we had to learn poetry, it was the hardest thing in my life. I just cannot remember words. And not only did I not remember words, when I'm listening to a song, I can't hear the words. It's like really bizarre. Everyone else is like, well, you know what the song's about. I'm like, I have no clue what this song about. I just hear mumble mouth. I just hear, blah, 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 blah. I just hear the tone of it. I hear the rhythm. It's really bizarre.
I agree with you. I've told somebody yesterday, I said, I listen to music from the bass line and drums up. That's the first thing that I will listen to. And if it's a good bass line, if it's a good guitar riff, anything like that, I'm hooked. It's not necessarily always the lyrics. And sometimes the lyrics might even ruin what's underneath it. And I don't get that with the Meters. I mean, it is just always from the floor up. And that's how you guys are as well. You guys with the new Mastersounds, 26 years, but you're not exactly taking a break. You're moving right into a new band called The Breaks, and you've got a really funky drummer that's joining you, Stan Moore with Galactic. I'm very familiar and have done several stints in the VIP after their shows with them and Erica Falls, and those cats are awesome. But you did get Stanton, and explain what this band's all about and the sound. It's going to be pretty raucous, it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was maybe 2 years on Jam Cruise, and Stanton and I were chatting in the jam room at the bar, and he's like, we should make a record. And I was like, I'd love to make a record. He said, yeah, we should talk to Robert. Robert wasn't on that Jam Cruise. He said, we should talk to Robert. We should do a record at some point. And so that was kind of the initial seed planted. And I mentioned it to Robert. And then we were playing a show a year ago. It was Denver Comes Alive. So, those Live for Live music people. They put on a festival. Well, I think they just did it the one time last year. And I was playing with Robert in one band. Stanton was playing with Dumpster Funk, doing a tribute or something. And again, we were in the green room, and it was the three of us were together. And again, Stanton said, "Come on, guys, we should make a record." I was like, "All right, when should we make a record?" He said, "October." It's like, "Are we all free October?" You know, he was really, really driving it, which was great because, you know, I felt like I've always driven the projects, you know, myself. You know, if you want to get something done, you do it yourself. And so I've always been the instigator of everything. So it was actually really refreshing that Stanton was the one who was like really, really pushing it, and it was just a logical thing because we've played together over the years. There's obviously a massive connection between the three of us. I mean, I've known Robert for 30 years.
Mm.
The first Grey Boy show in Europe was in 95 or 96. And my band at the time, the Three Deuces, opened for the Grey Boy All Stars. And they showed up thinking that they were only people doing this kind of music. And we were there ripping up the boogaloo. And they were like, "Whoa, what the hell?" And we became friends right away.
That's fantastic. It sounds like it's going to be a fun project, and hopefully it's not a single album and you guys kind of roll with it and maybe do this a couple times because the talent is there. And I think you guys sharing that with everybody, a trio is always fun, right?
Yeah, totally. Well, we made the album in October in New Orleans. It comes out May 1st, but we've already scheduled a studio session for November this year to go do the second album. In fact, our Japanese promoter, you know, the first album was not even out, and he said, "What's the plans for the second album? Because I'll hold some club shows for you." So he's held some club shows since September 2027. Because we've kind of promised him an album by May 2027, the second album. So that's how far out the Japanese work. Is hilarious.
Yeah, and they're also probably far. I'm sorry. Yeah, they're probably far advanced on jazz on us too. It seems like new Mastersound shows over in Japan are insane.
Yeah. And we've played Fuji Rock Festival a few times, and we're going to be doing that with the Breaks. It's like 250,000 people. Not a scrap of litter anyway.
Yeah, I hear that. So another thing that I thought was really awesome in the evolution of just watching you guys play and tour and just put out great tunes. You're into Color Red. It's a record pressing company that releases bands and records. And why did you get into that madness?
Yeah, I know, right? So we set up our own label for the Mastersounds, which was it was the easiest way to put out music. So One Note Records was the label that we ran in the UK, which I ended up handing over to Simon, the drummer, especially because I moved to the US. And then I moved to Denver in, I guess, 2015. And it was right when the music scene was really blowing up here. And there was, half of Lettuce moved over within the next 2 years. And, all these players were moving here. There was already a solid scene. And I realized that there was no outlet. There was nobody putting out all the great music that was getting made here. And there was all these collaborations happening like constantly. There was just no outlet that nobody knew about Denver. I used to say when I first moved here, I'd say, "Oh, yeah, I moved to Denver." People go, "Why?" And now I say, "I live in Denver." They're like, "Oh, cool."
Right.
So it's the perception of Denver has changed so much in 10 years. And it still is an amazing music scene, thriving music scene. And so we kind of got a studio space, and we just started it was in a residential house. We had people stay at the house and record as they were traveling through, as they were touring through. And we started putting out digital singles every week. At one point, we were putting out 3 singles a week on digital platforms in that first couple of years because we were making it all in the studio. So it was almost like almost like a radio show, just like putting content out. we're recording to tape, super old school analog, but also the nature of recording to tape is you're not sitting there editing this for, days, weeks, months. It's like whatever you put down, whatever you did there and then in the studio, that's kind of captured on tape. And then so we were just releasing it, mixing it quick and getting it out there. Then the pandemic happened and people weren't touring anymore for a couple of years. So we focused on kind of making more albums, and that's when we started releasing vinyl as well at the same time. Which eventually morphed into this just, a subscription-based vinyl club model, which, after lots of trial and error and heartache and we realized that it was the only way that A, the artist was going to make any money, and B, the label was going to make any money. It was really kind of removing all the middle people, not just the middleman. There's a lot of people with their fingers in all the pies. And if you can just produce a record, record a record, manufacture it, and sell it direct to customers and to a loyal base who's just, allowing us to just taste make records for them. And then and then I know that I'm going to get several hundred sales. So that means I can afford to make the album in the first place. Or the other musician who's coming to me says, I want to make an album. I said, well, I know I can guarantee you, X amount of thousands of dollars, because I know I can sell on the first day of release. It's going to go to the record club. So it became this really viable way of, like I said, almost commissioning people to make records. And that's kind of what we're getting into now is like, I actually just set up a studio date for the singer from Fruition. You aware of the band Fruition?
Absolutely. I
Jay
know exactly
Cobb.
who Fruition
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Jay Cobb, the guitar player, singer, he's like super talented. We've got a great friendship and we've been talking for the last year. It's like, all right, we should make an album together, kind of on the little more of the funkier side of what he does, the funky soulful, kind of like JJ Cale vibes, So, because I know that we can put this album in the vinyl club, I can it's almost like a bespoke album for the club. So I just booked the studio, and it's actually the classic Record Plant studio in Sausalito, where they made Songs in the Key of Life and Rumors and all these, classic ones. Yeah, they just reopened it. Amazing studio. So
That's great.
So yeah, so things like that, albums that wouldn't have happened before, we can now kind of tailor make them for the club, which is pretty cool.
You guys have a lot of people on your roster. Maybe name one or two you're excited to have part of the family.
Well, we've put the last couple of George Porter Jr. albums out, which
I know them.
Meters, yeah, yeah, and yeah, we'll be putting the Breaks album out on that. But we actually, speaking of, we just we did a co-promotion with Daptone Records, who are old friends of mine. So the last Anti-Ballast record that came out, we did like a color variation into the vinyl club. So it went out on Daptone, but then we did our own special pressing for the vinyl club just for our listeners, because we did a survey to the club members, and I think it was either the second or third most popular genre was Afrobeat. And we're like, oh, okay, you want Afrobeat? I'll go get the best Afrobeat band, which is Anti-Ballast. And they've been friends. I've been friends with those guys for probably nearly 25 or so years.
I really like how you say Anti-Ballast. It's probably the correct way to say it. If I say it too quick in the South here in Florida, it's just Anti-Ballast. It sounds like two words to me. But yeah, I give credit. Now that I remember, I give our local record store credit on the Anti-Ballast. He was like, you talk about all these bands you listen to, including the new Mastersounds. He goes, you really got to check these guys out. He dropped the needle on side 1, number 2 of the one I have back here. And I heard like 10 seconds of it. I was like, I'm buying that, and have enjoyed it ever since. So yeah, the deep dives you go on, just learning about a new band and hearing a really great album first, you end up really diving into their collection. And it's kind of an obsessive thing with vinyl, right? It's sometimes you're a completionist.
Well, the great thing about it, Yeah, that what I realize is, with vinyl, it's all about attention span these days. You put on a Spotify playlist, you're probably only going to listen to the first. You're not only consciously listening to the first few tracks, and then it kind of just turns into background music, and then next thing you know, it's been playing for like 2 hours, and you've probably heard the same songs a few times, but it just keeps going, and you're not really paying attention with vinyl because you're limited to the amount of minutes per side, which is really the ideal. Is about 18 minutes. The maximum amount of minutes you can get on one side of vinyl is 22 minutes. Um, and so you drop the needle and you listen to it. At that point where you may start drifting off, the side finishes. Now you got to get off the sofa.
Yep.
You got to physically turn it over, put the needle on again. Your attention just reset, and now you're listening to it again. And I think that's why it becomes such a more engaging process. So it's an active thing, listening to the music, like reading a book. You're listening. It's just not background music. It's not some mood music while you're having dinner with some friends.
Absolutely. I've used it as a timer as well. I know that I have 20 minutes. So if I need to do the dishes or do some housework, I put it on and try and get it done within 20 minutes instead of just an infinite playlist.
I work out. It's like, all right, I'm going to work out for 20 minutes. I'll drop the needle. It's like, I can't stop until that record is finished.
Yeah, see if I can finish these 6 Boddingtons in 20 minutes. Well, hey, I really appreciate you joining us, and I definitely will reach back in the future as you have new releases and things that we can help promote. I just like talking about music, and I don't want to be a talking head here on this channel. I actually want other people to do that. So first and foremost, thank you so much for joining us. You have a brand new band that's coming out called The Breaks. I encourage everybody to go listen to the single. It is available on Spotify. Get out there and buy the vinyl and support these bands. He said the most important thing is they make the most money off of physical media. So if you see the CD, vinyl, or a tape, or tapes are coming back out, let's buy the physical media and be those warriors to support these bands, or the bands are not going to be around very long if we're not supporting them in the most efficient way for them, which is buying their vinyl and merch and all of that stuff. And of course, go see Eddie Roberts and his crew, whether he's down at a Jazz Fest. Highly recommend with that. Tipitina's, that is going to be fantastic. That's a good venue.
Yeah. We got several shows across the 2 weekends of Jazz Fest. So
I'll try and sneak over there. I'll let you know if I'm coming. But we have the Red Rocks is coming. I'll lean on Eddie in a future email on what there is to do that weekend. Hopefully there might be a show that you guys book around there, or you're just playing somewhere and we can come see you. But Eddie Roberts, go check out all of their albums. They're all really, really good, and they all offer something just a tad different. Eddie's a phenomenal guitarist and probably can play a 85-minute solo if he wanted to, but they're usually about 25-minute long. But thank you so much for
a vinyl album.
Thank you so much. This is now my second band member of the new Mastersounds that I've interviewed. The first one, and had a great chat with Simon before we went to England back in 2019. He gave me all the insider tips and things to do and not to do in England, and now I'll lean on Eddie to go to Denver. I've never been there. So.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Come on over. Yeah,
cheers, buddy.
Fun.
And it's color-red.com is the Color Red, and you can get part of their subscriptions, all their cool albums. They do re-releases.
Like I said, the Vinyl Club is really important for us. That's the lifeline for us to continue making music, for sure.
Absolutely. And just so you know, I think you have a Cervantes album that's going to get re-released. Is that correct? Did I say that correctly?
Cervantes, we did the Mastersounds, Volume 1 and Volume 2 from last year. Volume 1 sold out, so we just repressing the Volume 1. Yeah, Volume 2 is available. Volume 1 is in repress. It'll be in hand in about 2 weeks.
Very cool. And you'll see my name on the first order of The Breaks. As soon as that link comes up, I'm going to pre-order that because all of those guys are good, and it's going to be a great album. Eddie, we look forward to seeing you, maybe up in Denver.
Yeah. All right. See you then. Cheers.
Hey, we'll end this episode with 2 in the queue, albums we bought but have not opened up yet. I did get an indie version of Johnny Blue Skies, and at checkout, of course, my friend Ed at Central Square Records said, hey man, you should check out the Budos Band. So we walked with these two guys. They'll get opened up and we will give some reviews and thoughts on them later. But hey, these are two in the queue for you. Johnny Blue Skies, the Budos Band. We'll see you next episode.